Well, it has been 7 months since I got fired, and guess what? I'm still unemployed. Still unemployed and without money. Last month I applied for 15 jobs, most of them being custodian, manufacturing positions, and yet it seems like no one wants to hire me. I did have one company that was intent on hiring me and bringing me out of this point in my life, but they were pitching 48 plus hours a week after 90 days of training between 4 days. The place that I interviewed at was close to an hour from where I live currently. They were talking about putting me on nights from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. To get there, I had to drive on a road that was known for having an insane amount of accidents because, and get this, it was a one-strip highway. And what I mean by that is there was no second strip for oncoming traffic. Kansas infrastructure, it's beautiful. Kansas jobs are beautiful. Having to nearly die just to go to work and make some money. Harsh hours, losing sleep, and some of the worst working conditions in the country. In this video, I'm going to ponder whether I'm unemployed or if I'm on strike. As we all know, I got fired from Walmart in February. Over the past 7 months, I've stood to learn about the horrifying working conditions and toxic social environment that many working class individuals like me are subject to each and every day. From the disgusting business practices of GameStop to the corporate greed of Lowe's and the makeshift feudal system at Walmart, as well as the overworking of Amazon employees and the enslavement of women and children to produce goods for Beyonce's Ivy Park brand. I am desperately trying to avoid working another dead-end retail job because, for starters, it's a dead-end job. I have never in my entire time working from May 2019 until I got fired from Walmart ever been offered a promotion or given a raise or rewarded for my hard work, with the exception of being given a pin from my old employer to signify 2 years of service to the company. There's zero room for growth in retail, just ask any cashier that's worked the same register for 10 years. The raises that are given to entry-level employees add nothing to their lives and hardly keep up with inflation. I'm also trying to avoid retail because I'm tired of being seen as a docile, obedient robot and constantly being under the thumb of a supervisor or multiple supervisors. Really, I just want to be seen and treated as an independent human being with emotions and needs, which work is only a need thanks to the oppressive system that only pays for menial tasks such as flipping burgers and scanning barcodes. And not exactly good money either. Really, I think anyone would like to do more with their life than work in food service or retail, unless it's something they truly enjoy, but most jobs in those industries are soul-sucking at best and life-ruining at worst. Just ask Camelot, who after getting fired from GameStop after 11 years, GameStop got him fired from Walmart over his videos. But it all makes me wonder if I should identify my situation as on strike rather than unemployed. I did mention my interview for a manufacturing facility that was an hour out from where I live. Really, it was about 40 minutes, but factor in traffic and weather conditions and you're certainly looking at a little closer to an hour on the road. But they took me on a tour of the facility. The warehouse was hot as hell, main flaws being they have no air conditioning, the door was open so the heat from the outside was bleeding in, and they had fans stationed up, which all fans do is make a hot room even hotter. Meanwhile, the executives and people working in HR were working in a nice air-conditioned office. So that alone is like, so I see how you guys do this. You install air conditioning for the HR workers and executives, but you make the laborers doing the heavy lifting work in the brutal summer heat. Ever since I got fired, I've had most of the money I had left get sucked up by bill collectors that are still hungry for more. It seems like I've been preyed on by corporate America as my phone bill has gone up. My car tags having expired in May now require me to pay $70 to get them renewed. My car is dead, which honestly I'm thinking about just selling for scrap metal or something. The price of gas and food has gone up, which is something that's affecting all of us, and yet it seems like unless you have a degree or a trade or something beyond just a high school diploma, the jobs that you can get are becoming harder to like. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that retail companies and such aren't even trying anymore to be likable. Nothing is worker friendly. Companies are forcing their workers to perform without air conditioning in the summer and not give a shit when someone suffers from heat stroke or dies in these conditions. And then, one thing I forgot to mention was in my particular Walmart, they would blast the AC to where it was 50 degrees in the store during the winter, as in during the blizzards and ice storms that were happening in the month leading up to my termination. And they wouldn't let us wear hoodies. Are you fucking crazy? It's bone-chilling cold outside, and you won't bother to turn the heat on, and you're gonna tell me to not wear a hoodie? You're not gonna look me dead in the eye and tell me that I am free and then make some stupid rule against hoodies. What could possibly be getting affected by employees wearing hoodies? Who's offended by this? Is the stock price going down for every employee that wears a hoodie? Is that what's going on? Because it's not like we're in a work area that will literally rip your face off if you wear baggy clothing. So you have people dying of heat stroke in the summer because there's no fucking AC, and you have icicles forming on your nose in the winter because there's too much fucking AC. Also, you're not allowed to wear a hoodie. And for barely enough money so you can live paycheck to paycheck and eat cheap, shitty-ass vegan ramen noodles that's chock full of artificial flavoring. You can rise and grind all you want and chow down on that nasty ramen and artificial beef burrito and put up with the awful in-facility weather in some stupid, pathetic bid to prove to yourself that you're an alpha male and eagerly welcome your boss's mistreatment when he yells at you over something trivial, but I'd rather not be another cog in a machine that frankly is falling the fuck apart more and more with each year that passes. Experts are telling us that there will be another recession by the end of the year. We're seeing schools having to cut back on lunch options. These supposed once-in-a-lifetime events have happened twice. Upcoming will be the third time in the past 15 years. The coronavirus pandemic has caused one of those recessions, and COVID was relatively tiny compared to, say, the Black Death. COVID-19, as of August 30th, has taken the lives of a mere 6.4 million people over the course of 2 years. The Black Death, while much longer at 9 years in length, took the lives of 75 million people on the conservative end. Roughly a third of the population of Europe at the time had succumbed to the Black Death. If COVID were as powerful as the Black Death and had a similar effect on our population, there'd be no coming back. Capitalism is not built to handle crises. Hell, the economy is starting to give in thanks to our government's hero mentality and not importing Russian goods. Truly, I hope the imperialist nation of the Russian Federation and the liberal democracy of Ukraine both destroy each other so bad that the power vacuum gives in to proletarian uprisings in both nations. But the upcoming recession proves that capitalism has no backup plan. Capitalism is a system that places its faith in short-term gain over long-term stability. Prices in gas are rising because our hero mentality is getting in the way of us importing Russian gas. Food prices are rising because of the horrible harvest thanks to global warming. Inflation is rising while our wages remain stagnant, and working conditions are only worsening despite the labor shortage and people not wanting to work because they're physically tired and or they're fed the fuck up with their boss and customers screaming in their ears. What we need is a system that puts people ahead of profits on the priority list. And that, my friends, believe it or not, is socialism. So how can socialism solve the problems that I just mentioned? Well, first off, why have rising gas prices when we can just not use gas? Begin producing electric-powered vehicles, and eventually move on to solar-powered vehicles. Cars, trains, airplanes, trucks, anything that can be used as transportation that at the moment requires fossil fuels. Work towards discontinuing fossil fuel energy in favor of cleaner alternatives. Convert gas stoves to electric stoves. Cleaner energy alternatives tie into global warming, which is what's causing the food shortages. Minimize the usage of fossil fuels and greenhouse gas emissions. For right now, I propose the expansion of greenhouse farming, so more crops can be protected from the worsening weather conditions of the outside as caused by global warming. In tackling global warming, I propose the construction of man-made forests. Trees and other flora convert carbon dioxide into oxygen through photosynthesis. On the personal level, you can help by starting a garden or growing your own fruits and vegetables, but I think what we should do as some sort of wild experiment, funded either through charity or with government funds, pick a patch of land out in the plains where there's no farmland or anything, and plant an entire forest worth of trees. Perhaps nearby farmers can get into the idea and plant cherry trees, apple trees, etc. on the outside. For every tree we chop down, plant 2 more trees to take its place. I think if multiple other nations were to cut back on fossil fuels and build man-made forests, we could have a tight grip on global warming. To tackle inflation, or at least alleviate its effects, ending planned obsolescence is key. A system that incorporates planned obsolescence as a way to increase profits is not breeding but actively stifling innovation. We must raise the minimum wage. The minimum wage needs to be updated yearly so as to not let wages fall behind as prices increase. Create wages that allow the working class to flourish without needing to rely on food stamps. UBI becomes a guarantee for the unemployed, especially so those that are fired aren't ignored by the state after, say, working for 2 years through a pandemic with no vacation. This way, people don't see their last bit of income be gobbled up by bill collectors whilst they search for new employment. And while expanding the operations of industries that are lacking would help tremendously in slashing the unemployment rate, one thing we must absolutely make sure of is that employees actually enjoy their jobs and aren't just trying to get through the day. I've extensively promoted the idea of unionization to protect employees from worker mistreatment, harassment, and wage theft, and to enforce workplace safety, child labor laws, and fair labor standards. Additionally, we need to actually reward hard work instead of just say we reward hard work. That's another problem with capitalism. They only say, they don't do. If someone is exceeding standards or consistently fulfills their workload, given that the workload is reasonable, they should be entitled to bonuses, raises, and promotions, and no chump change either. I've heard of people getting hundreds, even thousands of dollars in bonuses just for signing on or for holidays. I've seen people get bonuses for Columbus Day. I think Columbus Day is a day that we can all agree to not celebrate. But for working holidays such as Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, hell, even Halloween is more important to me than Columbus Day. Give them bonuses for working holidays, especially so that way they can pay for gifts. Give them raises for exceeding expectations, and promote them if if they show that they're ready for a challenge, and if they're fit to lead. On the topic of supervisors, and really the whole chain of command, I think we should either put candidates through a vetting process, so that way we're promoting people that are actually fit to lead, or collectivize the workplace. If someone is just barking orders and meandering around the workplace and not really doing much, they need to get the hell out of there. Leaders are meant to do more than just delegate. Barking orders and yelling at people that aren't as fast as you'd like them to be is not the same as helping them. It teaches them nothing, and all you're doing is killing morale and motivation, and also any respect anyone had for you up to that point. And ultimately, you become part of the problem as to why no one wants to fucking work. On the topic of unruly customers, I've proposed the introduction of a membership program. If Karen wants to come in and start trashing the store, being verbally abusive, and being a creep, and really not just to the employees but to other customers as well, it should not be a heavy decision to ban them from the premises. Stop enabling rudeness in customers, throw out the customer is always right nonsense, and make it known that there are consequences for being a piece of shit human being. The only way the saying the customer is always right is true is that the customer is always right wing, because they think they're the king of you. But we need to stop enabling that mentality, but it'll never end as long as we are stuck under the boot of capitalism. We can do our part right now to disrupt the machine by going on strike, file for unemployment, file for food stamps, and milk as much as you can out of the system. Really, if we all refuse to pay our taxes, the government couldn't afford to stop us. I've been unemployed for 7 months, and I really haven't been in too much of a hurry to get back to work because we're all in a situation at this point where we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. I don't want to end up in some dead-end retail job making minimum wage and never be able to move out and have a place of my own. Sure, I might be able to afford instant ramen, but I'd honestly rather starve than eat that shit. We need to strike for better working conditions, better wages, better leadership, and better hours, and no more of this 39-hour contract shit. Of course, this is all very basic for socialism. In fact, it doesn't even fully escape the capitalist framework. Higher wages, improved working conditions, ending planned obsolescence, and tackling global warming merely scratches the surface of what socialism entails. If you haven't already, I highly suggest checking out channels such as Second Thought, Hakeem, Ugopnik, and Marxist Paul to get a more in-depth idea as to what socialists hope to achieve. But if you enjoy your job and the conditions are great and your boss isn't a fucking asshole, then continue working at your own will. But for the rest, let's throw sand in the cogs and end this nightmare before it devours us all and robs us of our youth. Go on strike. In the upcoming midterms, the 2023 governor elections, and the 2024 presidential election, boycott the Democrats and Republicans in favor of the Green Party and the Socialism and Liberation Party. If we just boycott the elections altogether, it still won't end, as it'll just be the House and Senate voting people in. So if we must have a two-party state, may it be the Greens and Socialists to rise the ranks and become the new top dogs. And may they faithfully guide the working people to a better overall life, a life that we don't just waste away eating ramen and slaving away for some corporate overlord. I know support for socialism in the United States is growing, so vote if you can, and vote green or socialist. And if the capitalists refuse to concede, then they make it so revolution is the only way. 300 years ago, liberalism was considered the radical ideology, and the colonists tried to avoid war with the monarchy, but the king wouldn't listen. If the capitalists are not willing to listen to the demands of the proletariat, then they bring the Second American Revolution upon themselves. And that is where I shall conclude the video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click thumbs up, share the video far and wide, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Did I inspire you to organize strikes, walkouts, or any kind of worker action? Did I open your eyes? If so, please subscribe for more content like this. I do this kind of video every month on the 17th to mark the monthly anniversary of my termination as a Walmart associate. I was inspired to begin this series after it was clear that I was being left for dead by my home state, who denied my claim to unemployment benefits and never allowed me the chance to clarify or elaborate on the events leading up to my termination. I know for sure that this is what truly radicalized me. In the state of Kansas, people are throwing their lives away for jobs that they can't stand, and yet, even with them, they're either living on the edge or they rely on food stamps so they don't go hungry. And when people here get fired, it is extremely difficult to get unemployment benefits, with the insane waiting times, taking 2 weeks to get an interview scheduled, and hold times so long that you might as well drive straight to Topeka from where I'm at. The Department of Labor of the state of Kansas only cares about what the employer has to say and couldn't care less about the working people, even if it was a lie from a manager that ended up costing them their job. So if you'd like monthly rants from me every month on the 17th about the hardships of the American proletariat, I highly recommend clicking the bell to get notifications when I post a new video. Finally heard back from the Department of Labor. It's been 5 months since I appealed my disqualification for unemployment benefits, and we finally have movement. I'll be honest, I thought they just threw my case in the trash, but on the 15th, just 2 days ago when you guys see this, I got some documents in the mail telling me to register for a hearing and to be at the ready on October 10th. I will have been jobless for nearly 8 months. It will have been 7 months since my interview was first supposed to happen, and 6 months since I first appealed the disqualification, and also a month since they mailed me these documents. They sure took their sweet ass time, like we couldn't do this before before my phone service got suspended the first time? We couldn't do this before my car insurance was due, or before my tags expired? Well, either because the DOL is just criminally slow, or maybe I've created enough of a stink, we finally have a date for my hearing. This could be the difference between me being able to pay my bills or continuing to drown in debt that is getting deeper by the day. But do I expect to win this? Not necessarily. Walmart has absolutely no moral compass, and something tells me they're going to fight me to the bitter end on this to avoid paying a drop in the bucket, $250 per week. And something tells me Kansas is going to have their backs on whatever they claim, simply because Walmart is a profitable business and employs thousands of Kansas residents. I was lied to multiple times as an associate by the management team, and Walmart lied to the DOL that I just wasn't showing up to work, when the reality is that they kept changing my schedule to where I didn't know when I was supposed to be working, and the staff manager lied straight to my face that I had not accrued a no-call no-show after not being able to show up during the snowstorm, when in fact I had accrued a no-call no-show, essentially screwing me out of protected time off. Lied to me several times about me being on a set schedule, only to throw that out once the holiday season kicked off. So I absolutely wouldn't put it past them to claim once again that I was knowingly just not showing up when I was supposed to, or if it comes down to it, they'll start claiming outlandish things like me just being a time waster, or making the associates uncomfortable, or destroying the merchandise. But as you guys have seen, I have a real fucking score to settle with Walmart. Need I remind the world of that fucking creep they have over there for a maintenance supervisor that absolutely had it in for me? Lies and mistreatment was all it was for me at Walmart. Again, it's probably futile of me to continue pursuing unemployment benefits, but I'm genuinely curious as to how this plays out. After 8 months of zero income, financial ruin, and bleak prospects for what the future has in store for me, and feelings of pure resentment, frustration, and despair, expect next month's video to return to the topic of Walmart and the Department of Labor of the state of Kansas. Depending on how things turn out, you can either expect me to make my rants from March, June, and July seem calm and collected, and for me to release a bombshell against Walmart as a company, or you'll get me coming on here telling everyone that it's over and that I'm finally working on improving my financial situation and mental state. Now that bombshell could come out while I'm still waiting on a determination, and I could lose my benefits the day I win them, but ultimately the Walmart saga continues. Now I'm done. Once again, if you guys liked the video and are excited for what's to come, please be sure to click thumbs up, share the video, leave some comments, and please subscribe and click the bell to get notified, and I'll have some updates for you on October 17th. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon for the next video. Peace.